What is up, my clan? Welcome back to Riffing with Clintus, episode 43. First episode of 2020, season 2. That's what I'm calling it. This is the start of season 2. Hit the slate. First and foremost, I want to apologize. It's been 6 weeks since our last episode, which was basically a 2019 recap. And I had every intention of starting the podcast back up like right away. But after the new year and kind of like letting the dust settle from like the holidays and a few things came at me really quick. Like I had some really awesome opportunities for some charity events, sponsorships, and some partnerships as well. Like the first week of January. And then I started kind of like consuming, listening to some podcasts and watching some videos and this and that. And it kind of like, I don't know, put me in like this frame of mind where I was kind of self-reflecting, like preparing for this podcast. I have some notes here that I wrote like, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, whatever it was, about some of the things I wanted to talk about. And one of the things that I got to one of the things that came into my mind when I started talking about plan for 2020, right? Specifically this podcast, but also just 2020 in general, my content, right? I really started to think something really like struck a chord with me that I'd heard on a podcast or a video. I can't remember which one it was, the previous week. And basically it came down to, I have too many plates spinning, right? I have too many things going on. I have my hand in too many cookie jars. Insert your metaphor or analogy where you like. But basically I'm trying to do too many things. Now, I'll start off by saying that when things are going well, it's easy to pivot and pick up something else, right? Because you're like, this thing is a well-oiled machine. It's rocking and rolling. It's cranking. And you're just like, you're doing it with your eyes closed, right? You're like, all right, cool. I can do that and pivot and do something else, right? And now I can do two things at once. And then you get that one kind of rolling. And it's a well-tuned, fine-tuned machine and oiled, and it's growing. And you're like, all right, cool. Let's throw a third in there. Now you're juggling, right? Now you're like literally, it takes 3 things to juggle, by the way, in case you didn't know that, right? 2 things is just catching balls in your hands. So that's kind of where I was at, right? YouTube and vlogging was my only thing. And in 2015, end of 2014, I quit my job and I went full time with YouTube and vlogging. And our channel exploded, right? We hit 100,000 subs. And then a month later, we hit 200,000 subs. And things were just rocking and rolling. I've told this story a dozen times, so I won't repeat myself. But I just kind of want to kind of show things were rocking and rolling. And then I think it was 2015. Could have been 2016. I'm not sure. I can't remember the time frame. I'm going to try and do math here on the spot. But I started doing YouTube gaming. Started doing some live streaming on YouTube gaming. I started off with like, a couple hours, like 1 or 2 hours in the morning. Then I extended it to 4 hours, to 2 and 2. And I just kept doing more live streaming. And I really just started loving the live streaming. Now, I was doing live chats and live Q&As on my main YouTube channel before I quit my job, right? It was, if you guys remember, the OGs have been here for a while. 2014, 2013, Friday nights, I come home from work. Tiffany would go to work. It'd be me and the kids. I'd feed them dinner, and then I'd sit down and I'd do a live chat on my YouTube channel, and I would talk to the people, the community on YouTube. And then when I quit my job, I moved it to Wednesdays, and I did 2 a day. I would do 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening. And, looking back at this, I realized that I really, really love live streaming because I ultimately just want to talk to people, right? At the end of the day, that's what gives me the most joy. That's why I really enjoy working in restaurants and bars. And I worked in retail for a little bit because I really just love the interaction with people, right? And if I'm walking down the aisles of a restaurant or, Home Depot, and I see somebody, I can be like, hey, how's it going? Hey, you got any questions? Anything I can help with? I love that, right? And then, fast forward to when I was working in corporate America, I enjoyed having a team, right? I enjoyed being in leadership because I enjoyed having a team that I had a reason to go talk to them. They had a reason to come talk to me. And there was that interaction, right? When I was out of leadership, I got very bored. It was very boring for me because I lacked that social engagement, right? When you're kind of solo working on your own projects and doing your own things. And so, fast forward to today, streaming gives me the most joy. Streaming is the thing that I look forward to the most. It's where my mind goes when I start thinking about content creation and scheduling things and collaborating with people. It's live streaming, right? and that's on Twitch right now. I love Twitch. I love the platform. I love everything about it. So because the last 3 years on Twitch and the 2 years I did on YouTube gaming, so essentially the last 5 years, you know, my vlogging is kind of taking a back seat for multiple reasons. And, you know, and that, I think that really kind of, it kind of goes back to the point that I'm trying to make is when my attention starts going too narrow down one path, it's hard for me to see the stuff in my peripheral, right? I get so focused on streaming and trying to grow Twitch and trying to grow my community there that other things start falling on the sides, right? YouTube, vlogging, hell, Clintus Games, right? Like Clintus Games is completely just died because I don't upload at all, right? Like at least Clintus.tv, I'm still posting 2 or 3 vlogs a week, right? I'm feeding the engine, and you know, we're still growing in subs, and you know, views go up and down with the tides, right? But Clintus Games just kind of just died because you stop feeding the algorithm stops, you know, feeding you views. It's just how it works. And I keep going back to like, I need to do something with Clintus Games. It's just sitting there, it's dying. I've got an audience, right? There's a silver play button right there with my name on it. Like, I need to do something with it. But that's a whole nother thing for you to think about and plan and spend time on, right? And I'll sit in this chair for 8 to 10 to 12 hours sometimes streaming because I love it. And I will sit here for as long as people are willing to come hang out with me and chat with me. I will sit in this chair and continue to just talk to this camera and talk in this microphone. You know what I'm saying? But after 8, 10, 12 hours and I get done, I got about this much energy left to spend with my wife and my kids, catch up on, you know, a buttload of notifications that have been going off all day, and emails and you know, text messages and phone calls. And, you know, I got to take my streamer hat off and put my dad hat on, my husband hat on, my brother, my son. Like, you know, imagine doing that. If you work at a job and you work 10, 12 hours a day and you come home from work, you're like, oh man, I don't want to do anything. You're like, I know I got to do another job, another shift tomorrow. You know, and I'm definitely not complaining. That's not my point. My point is that after that amount of time devoted to one thing, you have very little time to devote to something else. And that's where a lot of these big content creators, they hire editors. They hire people to, you know, sit and pull clips out of their streams to make YouTube videos, or, you know, vloggers that hire editors. They literally just take their vlog footage, jump it into a Dropbox folder, and it goes off to an editor. They go to bed. When they wake up in the morning, their vlog's done, right? Like, that is a very common thing. And, you know, once upon a time, that was something that we talked about doing, but I just had a hard time letting go of the editing process. Because I do enjoy editing. I do, even though I don't necessarily put a lot of effort and time into it at the moment. When I do enjoy that process, I still do. And, you know, it comes down to cost versus benefit, right? If I hire an editor to go through my Twitch highlights and clips, and, you know, they're charging me $200, $250 a month, you know, am I making that money back and then some? Right? Or is it a flat wash, but I'm growing my subscribers, I'm growing my audience? You know, it really comes down to cost analysis, right? The ROI when you spend money on this kind of thing. And I'm just not ready. I'm not ready to really even think about that and analyze that and figure that out, right? Because that's a whole nother animal. Again, the point I'm trying to make is, I'm sitting here riffing a little bit, and you guys are seeing this live, not live. I'm not I'm not live. I'm recording this because I one of the reasons why it's taken me 6 weeks to do this episode is because I was trying to stream it live, and for me to stream it live, I have to schedule it and commit to a time. And every time I was like, I'm going to do it today, something came up. I'm going to do it today, something came up, and I never committed to a time, and therefore it never got done. So this is my kind of my test run, right? Episode 1 of season 2. I'm recording it so that I can kind of feel out this process. I'm recording the audio like I normally do, but I'm also recording the video. And my test seemed to go okay. We'll see. Hopefully I don't get robot voice. You Twitch homies know what robot voice is. But yeah, you guys are seeing me go through this process, you know, face to face. But ultimately, I'm kind of self-reflecting on myself here to see how many things can I actually do well. Because I said this in the vlog last week, a couple weeks ago, that I feel like I'm failing at trying to do all these things, right? Realistically, in a perfect world, I'll kind of lay out my perfect scenario for you guys. Perfect scenario is I wake up 5 days a week and I go live. 4 days here in this chair, 1 day is an IRL out with Tiffany. Been doing those for 6 to 8 weeks. We've been loving that. She loves it. I love it. You guys love it. Everyone's happy. So 5 streams a week, ideally, right? And whether that's all morning streams or we do a night stream and an afternoon stream, there are 5 days a week. I want to be live chatting with the community. Right now, because of our lifestyles and where we're at in our lives and the kids, we're vlogging almost every day, and I put that in together with a weekly vlog and a weekend vlog. And the only reason why it's divided up like that is just because typically the weekdays are kind of light, so I just push it all together to make a 20-minute vlog, and the weekends are a little heavier, so push those 2 days together to make a 20-minute vlog, and that's your 2 vlogs you get. So again, perfect world. I'm putting out 2 or 3 vlogs a week on schedule. You know what time it's going on, right? I'm doing a weekly podcast, right, where I'm ideally sitting here with a guest. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I'll give you a sneak peek at what that would look like if I was either live on Twitch or this was recorded on YouTube. And if you're listening on the podcast feed, sorry, this is a visual thing, which is going to happen if I do this live, by the way. There's going to be things you're going to miss in the audio cube, but I understand podcasts are traditionally consumed in audio, and I listen to all my podcasts. I don't watch any podcasts, even though most of them are recorded on YouTube as well. But this is what it would look like. So this is a cool frame that Captain Twa has made for me. You got my camera on the right side, and you have our guest on the left, ideally facing each other. So this would be the scene you would see if I was sitting here with a guest. And this is what, ultimately, you'd watch during the whole recording. So I'll go back to the full cam since I don't have a guest and it's just an empty box there. But yeah, so, perfect world. I'm sitting down with a friend of mine, recording a podcast once a week. And then if the moment occurs where I have something I want to rant about, one specific topic, long form, one topic, I come back in here and record a bonus episode for you guys, right? So a weekly episode with a guest, bonus episodes as they come about. And that's something I'm really trying to do a better job of. Even with just pulling my phone out and recording on my phone, just doing something comes up. I just saw, I posted a tweet about an hour ago. It's President's Day that I'm recording this, by the way. So in light of President's Day, I put up a tweet up, and I hate talking about politics. I really do. It's not even that, I've gotten to the point now where I absolutely hate talking about politics. My brother, I love my brother. I love my family, all of them. I love my brothers. We don't talk about politics. We've never been a political family, but apparently at some point in one of my brother's adult life, he's started to get into politics, which again, adults do. Hardworking Americans, right? Like to know what's going on in their government. And he shows me a joke. He shows me a joke on his phone. And I kind of just chuckled about it. And I thought it was for someone else. And then he made the comment it was actually for him. And I was like, and I guess maybe I don't know my brother's political views. I mean, he's made little comments here and there, and I kind of got an idea, but I was wrong. So we start kind of lightly touching on things. I'm like, really? You feel that way? And you think this is the case? And he gives me a few points. I'm like, yeah, but, and I give him some counter arguments. He's like, yeah, that's a good point too. And we had a very healthy conversation, which usually doesn't happen with politics, but we're brothers, and I really don't give a shit. I don't want to talk about politics because I hate them. I actually do hate talking about politics. Not that I try to avoid them publicly and social because it, causes friction and butting of heads, but I'm at the point now where I literally hate talking about politics. For multiple reasons, but just quick highlights. One, I'm very uneducated. I've never cared about politics. The most politics I've ever learned about was when I was in high school for my government class. And then when Obama was running, I was more interested, mainly because I thought it was awesome that, it was the first African-American president candidate, I should say, he was the candidate, right? So at that point in time, I was working at Cox and we had TVs on full time because we were monitoring the networks. So ultimately, people wanted to put up the political debates and, the Democratic and the Republican, what are those called? The debates, right? The where the candidates are we're whittling it down to 1 or 2 candidates, right? So I was involved and not necessarily interested, but I was paying more attention to those presidential, years, those election years. But anyway, my point is I'm not into politics. That's the main thing. The second thing is I hate that politics brings out the worst in people. Ultimately, there is a line in the sand and you are either on one side or the other. Now we can say there's other parties out there, but let's be realistic. Unfortunately, there's just the two parties, and people are like ingrained that they are this, they are a D or an R, and I don't give a shit if the candidate is a piece of shit. He represents my party and I need to vote for him. At least that's the general gist I get from the majority of the people that I see. So I put up the poll asking, if you don't like your candidate, if you disagree with your candidate, do you still vote for him because party first, or do you vote for the other person because they're a better candidate, or because you agree with them more or dislike them less? You know what I'm saying? Like lesser of two evils kind of thing. Or do you just not vote? So I'm curious with that poll that's on my Twitter feed right now, twitter.com/Clintus. Even if you don't have Twitter, you can read tweets. They're public. I'm curious what the poll ends up being at. I think after the first hour, it was like 40%, 40%, 15, I don't know, 20%. I don't know, something like that. It was somewhere in that range. It was pretty close. Well, I'm curious what it'll be in 24 hours, but I totally got on a tangent. I don't even know where I was going with this, but yeah, I don't remember how I got here, but let's reel it back in. Spinning too many plates, hands in too many cookie jars. I want to give you guys good quality content, but I also truly believe in the Gary Vaynerchuk model of just putting as much content out as possible, and quantity over quality, right? You still need to put quality content out. Don't get me wrong. Don't just put shit posts up. But the idea is that if you're just constantly putting out content, that, you know, the magical algorithms of all these social networks will put them in the front of faces of people that they think will engage with your content, therefore bringing them into your community, right? And I believe that model. I've been living that kind of model off and on, you know, for the last 4 or 5 years. Gary Vaynerchuk has been a big influence of mine for years, and you know, but I don't consume his content regularly enough to keep me on that path and to keep me keeping me going on that road. I falter and I fall off, and then I see a post on Instagram, or I listen to one of his podcasts, and it reels me back in, and I'm like, yes, this is focus mode. You know, I'm definitely I lose focus a lot. You know, it's just one of my poor quality traits. But you know, I want to put out as much content as I can, and that means YouTube, 2 channels, streams, podcasts, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I'm still trying to wrap my head around TikTok, where I fit in with that model, because it is the next big thing. If not already the biggest thing, right? It's the next Instagram, it's the next Snapchat, it's the next whatever you want to put a label on it. TikTok is it. And I've heard about it for a while. I've known about it for a while. It was Musically before that. I've been hearing whispers like TikTok's the next big thing. It's the next big thing. It's the next big thing. It's you know, it's aging up just like Instagram did. When Instagram first came out in 2008, I was one of the first people on it. I was using it. You know, you put those filters on your photos. Everyone's like, why the fuck would you put this shitty filter on your photo? It's like, right? Like, look at that old sepia photo on the wall. Doesn't that look dope, right? Isn't black and white noir style a thing, right? Like, kids were the first to adopt it because of phones, right? Kids, this is the generation of this, right? Kids grew up with these in their hands, whereas my generation, you know, we got this, 10 years ago, you know? And so Instagram was a kid thing, and then early adopters, right? Hipsters, and then now it's like everyone and their mom's got Instagram, right? TikTok's that next thing. Right now, all the kids are on it. People look at it like it's music, lip syncing and dancing, blah blah blah. But it's like, that's just the beginning. That's the infancy. That's the entrance of it, right? And then it's gonna keep. Anyway, I need to figure that out. I need to figure out where I fit in with that and what I can do on there, because that's where that younger demographic that ages up, right? There's a lot of people that have been watching my YouTube channel for 10 years or less, right? So let's just say in the last really 5 years, right? Is the hardcore years of my channel. Let's say 7, because the last couple of years have been rough, but let's just say the last 7 years. So if you are, let's say 18 years old, you started watching when you were 11, right? That's basically what Bryce's age now. Bryce is 12, almost 13. So if you're watching me back then, and now you're an adult, now you're in college, right? Now you're getting married, now you're having kids. Now you look at me and you're like, oh shit, right? Like, this is dad that I want to look at. I want to get advice from. Now I'm going to go back and watch these videos that I watched when I was a kid, but I'm going to look at it through dad's eyes. I'm going to look through like, how did they raise their kids and how they treat them during this thing, right? Like, and so TikTok's one of those things where it's like, get in now, grow with the platform, rise to the platform, and that's where the attention is, right? We're at the volleyball tournament this weekend for Sierra, and it's all a bunch of teenage girls, right? Ages 12 to 17. And it's like TikTok. That's all you see. It's all you hear about. It's all the rage, right? Instagram's still there. Snapchat's definitely there, but TikTok is the number one platform. So that's something else I'm trying to wrap my head around, is like where I fit in with that. But my point is there, that's it right there, right? Like, I have to find the time every day, Twitch, YouTube, podcasting, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, really should be Facebook as well, but Facebook's the one that I'm like, whatever, right? So that's 7 platforms that I should be creating content for regularly. Now, not necessarily every day. I'm not just like, YouTubing every day, podcasting every day, but my point is still the same. 7 platforms that I should be creating content for weekly, right? As much as possible. Now, if I get into a rhythm and a groove and I've got this like process down, the system down, where I go stream, rip the stream that goes, chop to YouTube, chop to Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, rip audio to podcast. Like, if I had that Gary Vaynerchuk model figured out for my content, then that would be the ideal situation, right? One piece of content gets broken up into like 15. So that's the part that I'm struggling around. That's the reason why this podcast took so long, because I was like, what am I going to tell you guys? What am I going to say to you guys? Am I committing to weekly? Are we starting the next episode next week with a guest? That's the ideal situation. I have to pick a day and a time and stick to it, right? I'm going to be on the Rageless Roundtable here in about 45 minutes, right? Lono's got his show Monday nights, 8:30 Eastern on his channel. He streams it live. That gets recorded and ripped to YouTube, and he rips the audio out and puts it on the podcast. That's his format. That's the format, right? In a perfect world, you stream it, you pull that stream, put it on YouTube, you pull that audio out, put it to podcast. Then you pull clips off, you put it on Instagram. Bada boom, bada bing. It's a content thing. So, but I have to commit to a date and time. And that's something I have to try and figure out with Tiffany. I'm thinking, even though when I kind of solicited feedback from my core community, I think a vast majority of them said, do it during the day, during your normal stream time, because that's when everyone will be available to watch it and listen to it, and be there live. But I'm actually thinking I should do it at night, like Lono, right? He has his normal stream time, then he has the show once a week in the evening. And I'm thinking that might be the best scenario for me, but also my guests. I have to think about the guests, right? I would say the majority of the people that I'd want to talk to stream during the day, like me. No, I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. I'd say it's 50-50, which I guess that makes any sense to even say the statistic. Half the people I want to talk to work during the day and would be available at night, and the other half stream during the day, like me, and would be available in the evenings. So, whatever. Moot point. Moving on. So yeah, I got to figure that out and get it figured out quick, because now that I'm putting this episode out, I do want to have an episode next week and the week after that and the week after that. And then there you go. We're kicking off season 2. And that was another reason why I procrastinated a little bit, because once I got this episode out, I wanted to get that's it. This episode goes up. You're going to listen to the next one next week. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let's talk about the podcast then. Let's go a little deeper into that. The plan is to stream it, record it, have a scheduled time with guests, right? The original idea behind Riffing with Clintus was me and a buddy, right? Me and a friend here physically shooting the shit and talking about whatever, right? I still love the jam with my buddies, Corey, Ben, Kevin, and Tim. They've moved it from Corey's house now to their office, and they're each week they're adding more production value with the green screen and lights and cameras and sounds. It's amazing. But the core of the jam was always them sitting together just bullshitting. Now, I'll never be able to get to that. No, I shouldn't say never, but never. I'll never be able to get to that because I will never be able to have a core group of friends that are close enough to hang out with every single week. and two, won't be able to fly people in on a weekly basis like Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan basically flies people in on a weekly basis and has their guests, because he's making the kind of money that he can afford to fly them in, put them in a hotel one night, or just fly them in and out for a day, right? Future goals, obviously, but the power of the internet allows us just to use Discord and do video chat, which is the plan for now. But the idea is just me and a friend shooting the shit, riffing, if you will, about whatever it is that we have in common, a video game, a topic, But I've got a lot of ideas. I actually have a list of people that I want to bring on the podcast. But I think that what I'm gonna do is wait for something to come up with an individual that I want to grab onto and be like, dude, you want to come on the podcast and talk about this? Because you just talked about it on Twitter, you just talked about it on YouTube, you just talked about it on your Twitch stream. You want to talk about my podcast? Like, hot topic, right? This just happened. Let's talk about it, right? Good, bad, or ugly. I think that's kind of the direction I'm kind of going. I want to go with. We need a topic, but I also feel like that will allow us to just kind of shoot the shit because we have something that's initiating the conversation. Again, these are all just kind of ideas swimming around, if you will. That leads me to the next question, though, is do you like that idea? I feel like the answer is yes, but I'm going to ask it anyways. If you guys like if the episode had a topic. And last season was a kind of an experiment. I definitely did a disservice to my guests and my friends. I didn't introduce them well enough. I didn't let them talk about themselves enough because I just assumed if you're listening to me, you know who this guy is, right? And looking back, I feel like that I did a disservice to the people that are on the show. So I want them all to come back for season 2. I'll apologize profusely to them and say that I'm sorry, I suck at this job. Can I get a do-over? Can I get a mulligan? Because I just feel like I brought him on, we just started talking, and it's like I didn't really be like, hey, this is MTash, or this is K-Magic 101. Like, talk about yourself. What do you do? I feel like I failed on that. So if I bring a guest on and they do the introduction, would you prefer if the episode with, let's just say the episode with Professor Broman, and today we're going to talk about Bitcoin, and the whole episode's about Bitcoin. Would that be a turnoff to you if the topic is something you're not interested in, but the guest is, right? Versus if I'm just like episode blah, blah with Professor Broman, and there is no necessarily topic. We might talk about Bitcoin, but we're also going to talk about streaming, and we're also going to talk about, and that might happen too. Again, riffing with Clintus, right? The topic might be Bitcoin, but see, that's the question I guess I'm asking you. So you guys will have to, leave me a comment in Discord. We have a podcasting topic in Discord. If you're not in my Discord, you can shoot me an email, Clintus.tv@gmail.com, or you can leave an audio message on Anchor, or if you're on YouTube, I forgot we have comments. You can leave a comment down below if you're watching this on YouTube, listening on YouTube. Let me know in the comments down below. Would you like a specific topic with a guest where the majority, if not all of the episode is about that one topic, or would you prefer the guest be the topic and we just kind of riff about whatever, right? And it might be multiple topics, and I'll put that in the description, like, here's the topics we talked about today, and the timestamps or whatever. Like, I'm trying to gauge that. Would you prefer it to be the guest and we talk about whatever, or this is the topic we're going to talk about, and these are the people I have on the podcast about the topic? Kind of gauging that. I'm just kind of curiosity. Again, I'm looking for ideas because I'm a people pleaser. And if the vast majority of you guys say, I want this, then I want to give you that. Okay. And then the last piece would be call-ins, because Anchor allows you guys to actually leave a voice message that I can then put into the podcast, which I've done a couple times. We've had questions, we've had topics come up. I've got some voice messages in the queue still that I haven't actually gotten to. So we could do Q&As. We could do, hey, I let you guys ahead of time. Hey guys, I'm having Professor Broman on the podcast. What's your question for Professor Broman? Right? I think that's a really cool idea. It's something I've already wanted to do. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it, set a format, structure on that. So that's something that, again, if I have a month worth of guests scheduled, I can let you guys know, hey, boom, boom, boom. Let me know what your questions are for these guests. So that's kind of where I'm at with the podcast. Outside of that, let's talk about 2020. So 2020 right now is looking really good. I'm really excited about it. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, first week of January. I got a couple different emails from a couple different people. I already have some charity events planned, trips. Like I'm going to St. Jude for their Play Live Summit again. I'm very excited about that. I'm very honored to be invited back out. I'm going to the Gamers for Giving charity event in Michigan for the Gamers Outreach. We're going to raise some money for some gaming carts again. There's some extra things going on that this year, the event that I'm very excited about, that you guys will have to wait to see. And then I'm working on some partnerships and sponsorships. I re-upped with Elgato. It's official. I'm partnered with Elgato for 2020, so I'm excited about that. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, G Fuel has been amazing. For those of you who are listening, I have a mini fridge behind me, a G Fuel wrapped mini fridge, and a G Fuel embroidered DX Racer chair that they sent to me. Because at this point, I'm not only am I a partner or a sponsored, but I'm really a brand ambassador for G Fuel. I love the product, I really do. I've met a lot of the guys that work at G Fuel, and I love those guys. I'm hoping in 2020, cross my fingers, I get to go out to New York and actually see G Fuel headquarters and the house and all that. I'd love to do that at this point sometime this year. But G Fuel has been a major partner of mine, and it's a relationship. It really is. I promote them, they promote me. It's a symbiotic relationship, and I'm really happy with that. So more of those brands and partnerships, in 2020 for sure. There's some talks going on, some things I'm working on. And as more stuff develops, I'll definitely keep you guys in the loop on that. Another thing that's happening in 2020 is we're buying a house. Hopefully, if you guys missed last year, we sold our house, our big, beautiful, amazing house. Loved it, but it wasn't perfect. And it definitely didn't feel, I know it sounds weird, but it was too big. It was too big. There was too much space. There was too many rooms, and something was missing. Now, people ask me all the time, what do I miss from that house, right? What's the one thing you miss from that house? The backyard. Straight up, I loved my patio. I loved my view. I'd open that big old Arcadia door, that sliding glass door, and I'd look out my backyard with the pool and the palm trees and the big trees and the grass. And, I had the barbecue pit and the patio. Like I said, just the patio alone, just being able to sit on my patio and just enjoy the trees and the wind. And that's what I miss. But we didn't really crazy about the neighborhood. There was nothing special about our neighborhood. And unfortunately, we didn't really connect with our neighbors. After being there for 2 years, we met our neighbors, but we didn't really make relationships. There wasn't really a lot of relatability there. Most of them were older. The couples across the street from us were retired and not very outdoor and friendly. It kind of made it for like, it was easy to, we can move, because we didn't really make any friends in the neighborhood, right? The neighborhood didn't have any special amenities or any. I mean, I walk a lot, right? If you watch the vlogs, watch Instagram, Twitter, I go for walks. I like going for walks. I like the outdoors. I would walk down to the biggest park in our neighborhood, and there was a loop you could go around, but it was just like literally going around in a circle of grass, right? Nothing special. If you've watched my walks and vlogs here where I live now, we've got desert trails, we've got mountains to hike, we've got just the neighborhood alone looks dope, right? The houses all look different, the trees, and we love where we live. We love this neighborhood. We love this community. So happy we moved. The kids are happy because they had their friends live here. Like, again, if you watch the vlogs, Bryce has been gone like 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row now, at friends' houses, like all day Saturday, like at a friend's house, because he can ride his bike or ride his rollerblades to his friend's house. Goes to the basketball courts, right? He used to have a basketball court in his backyard and never used it. Well, now we have basketball courts like, block that way, 3 blocks that way, like, and he'll like, hey guys, I'm going to the basketball court, and like meet his friends at the basketball court, right? Like things like that. It's just it's been a life-changing it's only been 8 months I think since we sold and we moved, but it's been amazing, right? And that's the stuff with the kids. Kids have their friends here. Kids' schools and events are going on in here, so they're constantly on the go and on the move, right? And that's one of the reasons why you don't see them in the vlogs as much, because they're doing their own thing. Bryce goes upstairs, puts his headset on, and he hangs out with 4 of his friends playing video games. They may not even play the same video games at the same time, but they're talking to each other, right? And Sierra will FaceTime a friend and watch a show together, and like they do like a movie night. Like, that's just the way the kids interact with their friends these days. And if they're not, like I said, if they're not already out with their friends. Then there's the whole piece of me and Tiffany, which I actually think I've convinced her to be on the podcast for just her and I. If you've been following the vlogs the last couple of weeks, we've been doing a lot of like adult weekends where in our own neighborhood, walking or riding our bikes from our house, exploring our neighborhood and our community. There's 5 restaurants and bars within, 4-mile radius, which is very walkable, or we'll drive halfway and then walk the other half, right? We like our exercise. But like, there's things to do here. There's things to explore. There's beautiful scenery. And as we're doing our walks and our bike rides, we're seeing other people. We're waving at people. We're talking to people. Tiff and I were walking on this trail, and this other older couple, their dog, kind of met with us. We were forking the road. We ended up talking with them for 10 minutes till we got to our, the final destination where we both had to split again. Random couple, older couple, just shooting the shit, making friends, and Tiffany made the comment, I know they were older, but I would totally have a beer with them. I'd sit down and have a glass of wine with them. I'm like, I know, same, right? And that is something we never got in 2 years at our old neighborhood. And we're already making those connections. Valentine's Day, we went to dinner here in the neighborhood. There's a restaurant, right? This other couple sitting next to us, just making small talk, ask questions. We start, long story short, 20 minutes later, we got invited to their party they're throwing in a month. Like, you guys should totally come. It'd be great, blah, blah, blah. Tiff and I are afterwards, we'd hang out with them again. They seemed awesome. They lived a mile down the road. I know, things like that. So 2020, the plan is to buy a house because we're just renting this, right? This is a rental. This was an easy rental to get into when we were selling our house. We're if we don't find a house right away, no problem. We'll just move in here and rent. And it was also kind of a test. And I talked about this in the selling a house video we did in a podcast I did a while back, where we're doing a lot of testing. Do we need a backyard? Do we need a pool? Right? Do we still hate having a 2-story? Is a 2-story okay? Things like that. There's a lot of testing. Also, when our lease is up, we go month to month, so we can literally take our time to find a house or build a house. That's another option. There are 3 communities being built, 3 housing developments in this community being built, so we could build a house if we wanted to, which we don't necessarily want to, but it's an option. We can go month to month, and then we can just move whenever we want to. So that is the plan for 2020, and probably in the next month and a half, 2 months, I would say we will start looking. We're getting ready to do our taxes this week. Once we have that finalized and we know what we owe, because we're gonna owe, we'll pay that off, and then really kind of see what 2020 is looking like, because I've got a few things in the hopper, but they're some of them are one-offs and some of them will be monthly. So we have to kind of figure out what, I'm basically in a sales job, right? If you ever worked in sales, car salesman, realty, that 1 month it could be killer. You make a ton of sales, you make a ton of money, and then the next month you could not sell anything. You need to be conservative with your money, and rolls over month, right? YouTube content creation is very, very similar in that, where 1 month could be awesome, right? Tons of views, a couple of brand deals and sponsorships, and then next month, nothing. So it's really hard to predict what the next 6 months to 12 months is going to look like, 'cause I don't know, right? I literally got a brand deal 2 weeks ago. So if I would have recorded this 2 weeks ago, I'd have been January, February doesn't look really bright. And then boom, I get an email saying, hey, we'd like to partner with you on this product. And what's your fee? And I give them my rate, and they're like, yeah, we'd love to do that. Boom, right? Bonus, right? That's kind of how this works. And so there's no way for me to predict what the future is going to look like. I can only look at my baseline and go, this is where we can be comfortably. And then when we have a really good month, we save it, we bank it, we move it over, we invest it, right? I invested a lot of money in 2016, 2017, right? When we had our best year ever. I took a lot of that money and I invested it because, I'm an adult, I'm mature, responsible, and I have a family to take care of. So I didn't go buy a Lamborghini or, whatever, rent a jet. I invested. So that money's not necessarily available, but it's making me money and I'm forgetting about it, which is great. So, I think about that kind of stuff. 401k, Tiff and I, we have, we're in our late 30s. We got a good, hopefully another 30, 40 years. And then after that, retirement, you have money saved. Kids, save your money, right? Plan for your retirement young, because if you do it now when you're young, 50, 60 years later, you forget about that money. And all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, this money tripled, quadrupled, quintupled, right? So yeah, I'm gonna buy a house this year. I'm excited about it. I'm already ready to start looking. I'm so excited to start looking at houses. I love that process of looking at houses. I really do. On top of that, something I've been talking about the last couple of years, I want to sell the trailer and I want to downsize. I want to downsize to something smaller. Like right now we have a 30-foot tow behind trailer. I would like to go down to like a 22, maybe 24 toy hauler, so that we can put dirt bikes or possibly a razor back there at some point. Because, Tiffany's brother sold all his dirt bikes and they bought a side-by-side Can-Am. Because their boys are older, they stopped riding dirt bikes, and the Mike and Joy are kind of like in that empty nest stage. Even though their kids are still living at home, they're kind of doing their own thing because now they both drive, and it's no big deal. So we talk about maybe I should sell my dirt bike and get a razor, right? Get a side by side. Our kids will be here probably for another 8 to 10 years, so a 4-seater makes sense. But in order for me to do that, I have to get a new trailer because right now there's no way for me to tow it. My trailer's a tow behind, which means I can't tow a trailer behind it. You can only tow a trailer behind a trailer if it's a fifth wheel. I don't have a fifth wheel, so not going to work. Or I have to buy a small trailer that goes behind my truck or Tiffany's car. So if I commit to a razor, it's a lot more commitment than, say, a golf cart, which is another something we've talked about because of our neighborhood and how awesome it is. We do like to ride our bikes. We do like to walk, but in another 2 months, it'll be so damn hot that a 20 to 40 minute walk will probably be unbearable. So if we were to have like a golf cart where it cuts that time, to a third or a quarter, and the wind's blowing on you, seems more realistic, more reasonable, right? Because I'm really, really excited about the summer. This last summer was kind of like us feeling things out, the community pool and stuff like that. We were still figuring out where we were living, and fast forward a year later now, like I'm so excited for summertime. I really am. There's pool parties and there's luau's and there's all kinds of cool things in this community that they do for the summer that I'm really excited about. So golf cart is something I thought about, and the golf cart is very reasonable. I can sell my dirt bike today and buy a golf cart with cash tomorrow. Like they're about the same price. Razors are a lot more expensive. So again, not only is it a bigger commitment buying the razor, but then I have to buy a trailer for it if I ever want to take it out outside the community. Now, granted, I could just buy a razor and just drive it here in the community, but then it's like, might as well just get a golf cart. a lot cheaper, a lot less maintenance. But that's another thing that we're talking about doing sometime this year. After we buy the house, we get settled in, figure out our bearings, where we're at. Golf cart or razor is definitely in the future. That's at least what we talk about. And I guess the last thing kind of to hit on is the kids. I kind of talked about a little bit earlier in the episode. Kids are 15 and almost 13. Freshmen in high school, 7th grader, middle school. Their friends live in here, and they're constantly on the go. Right? Bryce will be like, "Hey, after school today, I want to go to such and such park with so and so and play basketball or soccer or football." And so he's gone for 2 hours after school. Right? We pick him up, bring him home, dinner time, right? Sierra's got volleyball. Bryce will have basketball in a week or two. The club season starts back up, so he'll have practice twice a week again. So our kids are just busy, right? They're busy with their friends, they're busy with their own lives, and they don't necessarily, need to hang out with us. So that's one of the reasons why you guys see less and less of them in the vlogs. And even on Instagram, it was funny. I was looking at Instagram today because someone made a comment about the grid and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like scrolling through my Instagram. It's like the kids aren't even on my Instagram feed that much these days because they're just they're not around me as much for me to take photos of, right? I think the last photo of Bryce I took was him on his bike saying he's getting ready to go to a friend's house, 3 weeks ago. When was that photo taken? There it is. January 30th. Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago, was the last time Bryce was on my feed. And Sierra, I just posted some volleyball photos today because she had a 3-day tournament, but she hasn't been on my feed since January 6th. So, that just shows you how different our lifestyles are these days. That granted, I see the kids every day. I see them in the morning before they go to school. I see them after school. I try to say goodnight to them almost every night. But it's like I'm not taking my phone in there to take a picture of them in bed or every morning before school. Here's their outfit. I'm more of like a capture a moment that I want to capture and share kind of thing, and that doesn't happen very often these days. But it's something I talked to Tiffany about, saying that, maybe we should start trying to carve out like structured time outside of just at the dinner table. Cause dinner's ready now. I don't know if you heard the door open, but dinner's ready. So, we still sit down and eat dinner together. I would say 4 or 5 nights a week, on average, right? Sierra's got volleyball, Bryce will have basketball, but Tiffany plans dinners before that. So we'll sit down for at least 20 to 30 minutes, 4 or 5 days a week, sit down, eat dinner together, catch up on the day, what's going on tomorrow, blah, 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 right? And we all look forward to that. Even the kids. The kids actually have made comments that I go to friends' houses and they eat their dinner in their bedrooms, or, they eat dinner at the dinner table with their parents or at the couch watching TV. And it's really cool. I think seriously, I'm really cool that we sit down and eat dinner together, most nights. So one of the things that hopefully, summertime is always different because kids are out of school, but hopefully 2020 is one of those where we kind of get back to hanging out together more often, and doing things together. Because a lot of times what ends up happening is me and Bryce will do something, and Tiffany and Sierra do something, right? Or Tiffany and Bryce and me and Sierra. And, it's very rare for the 4 of us to get together and spend a chunk of time together, right? Unless we go somewhere. That's the key, the catch. If we plan to go somewhere, then it's family time. We go to the farmer's market, we go to an event, we go to a festival, right? Easy peasy. But I'm talking about, the 4 to 6 hours after school, right? Or a Saturday or Sunday, we have nothing planned, or we have maybe half a day because of kids' sports, right? It's very easy for us to get home and then everyone disperse into our own rooms, corners of the house, right? I go in here, Tiffany goes to the couch, the kids go upstairs, and then we don't see each other again until dinner. And even on the weekends, it may not be dinner together. It might be, mom made dinner, come eat whenever you're ready, right? I'm very big on letting my kids be independent. I'm very big on having my kids make their own choices. In fact, I encourage it. I would say at a very young age, I've always been encouraging my kids to make their own decisions, live with the consequences, do things on their own, right? I stopped making my kids dinner plates, 5-6 years ago. It's like, you're old enough to know that is French fries and that is a burger. Make it yourself. So that's just kind of how I've always been. So fast forward to today, where the kids are, teenagers, they're independent, and they're confident. I'm proud of who they are becoming. And so I definitely don't shy away from them wanting to go hang out with their friends. I remember when I was a kid, my mom would be like, "You just hung out with so-and-so yesterday." It's like, yeah, well, it's another day. I want to go hang out with them again. It was fun. Let's do it again. My mom was very much like, you should only hang out with your friends like 3 days a week, and you should hang out with us 4 days a week. And it's like, but I see, so I very much remember those days in my head when I was a kid. So, and I can relate if the kids want to go do something and Tiffany's like, "Oh, you don't want to hang out with us?" I'm like, no, why would they want to hang out with us? So, but with that being said, I know the kids do enjoy hanging out with us from time to time, as long as there's something to do. Now, if we're just sitting there on the couch and we're kind of all on our phones, just like, nah, doing our whatever, the TV's on, whatever, it's like 5-10 minutes and it's like, all right, I'm out, deuces, right? And they go do their thing, which again, I respect that. So, basketball and volleyball, they're still very much into. School seasons are over. Sierra's in her club season. Bryce is getting ready to start another season of club. They're hanging out with their friends a lot. And then this summer, guys, I'm going to be teaching Sierra how to drive, because this November she'll be 16 and she plans on getting her license. Now, she won't be getting a car right away, because she won't be able to she won't be able to afford, we'll work out the details when time comes, but because of volleyball and how committed she is to volleyball, she won't be able to have a full-time job to pay for all the, a car payment and insurance and gas and whatever, right? So she'll be most likely driving our vehicles for the first while. And then, between YouTube money and if she decides to get a job, she'll have to pay for, certain things that comes with having a car, right? Like gas. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But my point is that this summer, she's going to be driving. I'm going to be teaching her how to drive, and she's going to be wanting to go places and do things. And then come November next year, when she gets her license, then she really can just be like, deuces, I'm out, right? Like, hey, I'm going to so-and-so's house. I'm going to eat dinner on the way home or on the way there. We're going to eat dinner together, right? Like, and then what happens when she gets a boyfriend, right? Then she's really like, I'm out. I got someone to hang out with all the time, So it's just gonna keep getting, I don't want to say worse. That sounds bad, but it's gonna get worse in regards to the kids being around less and less. It's inevitable. And that's why I think a lot of like the biggest YouTube family vlogging channels that blew up were all the ones with the littlest kids, right? Or the ones with little kids, because they're the ones who have to basically be held and fed and watched consistently, right? So you're constantly walking around with your camera, capturing all these funny, entertaining, magical moments when the kids are little. And then as the kids get older, you start seeing less and less of them, right? Because now they're less and less reliant on you. And so I think that's a direct reflection of our channel, you know? And again, being a parent that wants the kids to, you know, go out and be their own people, right? I don't want my kids to be attached to my hip. I don't want my kids to be clinging to my arm the whole time. And you know, when someone asks them a question, they look at me, am I okay to answer? I don't know what to say. You know, like I'm very much the person that's like, you know, pushing my kid, like, the man asked you a question, answer him, right? And now thankfully I don't have to do that today because the kids are older, but my point is that's how I was, right? Like, I'd answer him. He asked you a question, right? Like that's how I am. So anyway, that's 2020. That's what we're looking at right now. It's a few things I wanted to highlight, but really you know, we're in the middle of February, and I can tell you the last 3-4 years, guys, things come quick. Right? Tomorrow I could get an email for an opportunity to be somewhere else in the world in a week, 2 weeks from now, right? So as I'm sitting here recording this to you, I'm like, I got no plans for the next 2 months. But then tomorrow I get an email. That's how this life works. That's how this job, this career works. Is at any given moment I get an email and an opportunity arises. Sponsorship, a brand deal, travel, you know, happens all the time. So I have to be nimble. I have to be flexible, and I have to know that, you know, I might go months without anything, and I might go 1 month I have 4 opportunities at once. That happens a lot too, actually. Seasonal stuff. So I'm excited for 2020. I still have a few things to kind of figure out, but I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to really dial things in. Like I'm starting to put out stream schedules now on Mondays. I say what I'm going to stream and what time I'm going to stream, and let you guys know that ahead of time for the week. I plan on adding the podcast to that schedule. And then really just trying to be consistent, putting out more content to you guys on all the different platforms, you know, Twitter, Instagram. Like I said, trying to figure out TikTok, where I fit in with that. I don't want to just be someone else just doing the same old. I need to find my own thing, what works for me. So yeah, thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry it took me so long to get this episode out, but I will say this. I was very, very excited to see so many people on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, like in the comments, in chat going, where's the podcast? I missed the podcast. When's the next episode of the podcast? Are you done podcasting? I really like those. I miss those. I went back and started listening to old episodes because I missed them. I am so pumped that you guys dig the podcast. I really felt like I failed. Again, I felt like I failed you on the podcast. I was pretty consistent for a while, and then I fell short because we were traveling and doing other things. And then I'd put up a couple episodes and then not put a couple episodes, and you know, and the view and the listens like show that, reflect that, right? Consistency is key when it comes to content. You know, when you watch TV shows, it's like, you know, when that show is going up. So I'm excited that so many people were looking forward to this episode, and I hope that you enjoyed it. We're getting close to an hour, so I'm going to wrap things up and just say again, thank you very much for all your support and everything that I do. If you are just listening to this for the first time, or you only listen to my podcast, you have no idea what I've been talking about the last hour, Twitch.tv/Clintus. I'm live 5 days a week. YouTube.com/Clintus. I been vlogging there for about 13 years. And I put up vlogs there 2 or 3 times a week. And then pretty much I'm Clintus on every social network. So Twitter.com/Clintus, Instagram.com/Clintus, TikTok.com. Is that, I don't even know if that's a thing. TikTok.com/Clintus. Hell, even Byte, Vine 2.0 is back. I'm Clintus on Byte. Been playing around with Byte. That's been a lot of fun. So, you know, follow me on the different social networks. Subscribe here on the podcast. It's free. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, or you can download the Anchor app and subscribe there. But, you know, podcasts are hopefully going out weekly now. And we have a whole library of, 42 episodes plus, because there's bonus episodes there. But there's 42 actual episodes plus bonus episodes that you can go back and binge listen to. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. I'm posting this on my YouTube channel. This is an hour-long video on my YouTube channel. I don't think I've ever posted, well, Christmas, right? Christmas, I've had an hour-long Christmas video. I take that back. But this is like an hour of me just sitting here. But it's a podcast. So the idea is you can listen to this on YouTube while you're doing something else. Or you can listen to this while you're, not even look. You don't have to watch me. You're just listening to me, right? You pull up another window and have me blocked, but you're still listening to me. That's the idea. A lot of people listen to podcasts on YouTube, just like they listen to music on YouTube. So that's the idea. So let me know in the comments down below, YouTube specifically, what your thoughts are on this. If you dig this, me putting this up. And again, when I have guests, it's going to look something like this. So it's me and a guest talking to each other. That's the idea. So thank you so much for your attention, wherever you give it to me. I really appreciate it. I will see you guys on the next episode of Riffing with Clintus. Take care.